Oh my God. How about now? How about now? Do I have audio now? Good now? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Good now? Just a minute. Just waiting. Good now? Oh, wait a minute. Yep. Okay. Okay. Good now? Just a minute. Damn. Thank you so much, Tantrum. Damn. What an embarrassment. I had these headphones muted because audio is live. I keep forgetting that I have the headset muted sometimes because the microphone is sensitive, and so sometimes when I'm in the Discord, like I was in the Discord with Ham earlier, and then I was in the Discord with my son. So I got these fans blowing all over the place, and they do make wind noise because it's hot as hell in this apartment. So whenever I'm not speaking, I would mute the microphone. And I'm using these headphones because from a microphone standpoint, these Sony Pulse headphones are dog shit. They sound good, but I don't think they sound any better than any other quality headsets out there like Turtle Beaches or anything like that. But the microphone on it is dog shit. Basically, I think the only good thing that you really get out of these Pulse headphones is that they're wireless, so it allows you to move around. If you're not a streamer and you're just in party chat with friends and that kind of stuff, and you want to get the Pulse headphones, I'd say go for it. But if you're a streamer, I would not recommend these headphones because I've gone back and checked some of my streams in the past where I was using these Pulse headphones, and I did not sound good. It did not have a stereo sound to it. It had a mono sound to it. Borderline, I sounded like I was underwater. So I just think the microphone on these Pulse headphones are total dog shit. Yes, I said it. I said something bad about Sony hardware. There. As far as the audio goes, yes, again, they sound good, but I go back to saying that I think that the Sony Gold headphones might sound better. And if the Sony Gold headphones are compatible with the PS5, I might even recommend getting the. I would like to recommend the Gold headphones over the Pulse audio headphones, but the problem is that the Halo on the Gold headphones is cheap, so they snap easy. So, and damn, even the Turtle Beach headphones, like I think it's the Recon 200s. Those are amplified headphones. They sound incredible, but they don't last long because I think the wiring inside that headphone is cheap. You buy that headphones and maybe 6 months, a year later, the audio and shit like that will start shorting out because there's an issue with the wiring and shit. So I don't know. I think, in my opinion, if you're going to spend like the Recon 200s, the Turtle Beaches, they normally retail for somewhere between $60 and $70. Normally $60. Again, they're really good headphones. They're comfortable. They sound amazing. It's just I don't know how long they'll last before you start to hear the audio shorten it out. And then sometimes you'll reach a point where, like the 3.5 millimeter jack that's plugged into the controller, sometimes you'll have to move it around so you can get audio coming out of both sides. Because once it starts to short out, you might only get audio coming out of one side. Sometimes you might hear static, that kind of shit. So just a FYI, I think, just do your research when you're ready to buy some headphones, especially if you're going to buy some headphones, in my opinion, that cost $70 or more. Do your research. If you're going to pay for some shit that costs $30, you're pretty much getting what you pay for. So I forgot my introduction. What is good, everybody? It's the Godfather of VR. He's the dog shit emoji, pretty much. It's the Godfather of VR, the ageless one of the man, Lincoln Clay, and we are back with another live stream of GT7. Today, we're going to check out some more races to Is This Mass Effect? Mr. Craig, the tech guy. Today, yes, this is the car version of Mass Effect. Today, we're going to check out some more races to fill up some more menu books because, as I was trying to say when I was muted, I still want to get to Circuit de la Sarthe. That's my favorite track in the world on the British GT circuit. Mount Mons is my favorite track, followed by Mount Panorama. I think as far as American tracks goes, the Daytona circuit is formatted for IMSA sanctioning races. I think I like that. And then Road Atlanta, which is not on this game. The Road Atlanta is not on very many games. I do think Road Atlanta is on iRacing. It is somewhat of a high speed track. I still want GT7 despite the problems. I believe I will still have good fun with it. You will, Craig. I never questioned whether it was a good game or not. I just didn't care for the way the microtransactions was implemented. I thought it was crazy, you know. Long story short, you know, a number of people have already broken it down, including myself. Long story short, cars that might have cost you $5 on GT Sport now cost you $40 on GT7. And I've said it before that, you know, the microtransactions are going to have minimal effect on me because I'm not a car collector. Those are the ones that's going to be affected the most by the microtransactions. Me, I just want to race. And there's only a few cars that I want to race with. And I'm primarily a Group 3 racer. You know, some Group 2 and Group 1. You know, if I try to buy a Group 1 car, yeah, it's going to cost me about $3 million. That's going to cost me a pretty penny. As far as the legend cars goes, the Porsche 917K is the only one. $40 for a car, shaking my head. That's about half the price for the game itself. Support Gaming, how you doing? So the Porsche 917K, I have no interest in buying that car right now. It's $18 million. I have no interest in buying that car. Not right now. When PSVR 2 launches, maybe then I might be interested in buying that car because I want to sit inside a retro car and experience what the drivers were experiencing back then in the 70s. But right now, flat screen, nah, it doesn't. To me, it's not that immersive. It would be way more immersive in VR. That's just all to it. I mean, and to me, that's one of the benefits of racing in VR is you get to sit in a car that you probably wouldn't even come close to. You know, with me being Floyd Mayweather's first cousin, I've seen a few of his cars. I've only sat in one of his cars. I think he had a Rolls-Royce Phantom. I sat in that car once. I saw a Ferrari that he had, and that was about it because he brought it into town. But like the Koenigsegg that he bought, he paid $4 million for that car. And I think he had it shipped here because the car was not available in America. And I think the one that he bought was like only the second one made or something like that. So, I've only seen videos of that car on YouTube. My little bro drives that concept car from Black Panther. The concept car from Black Panther. I'm not sure which car you're referring to. But in any case, I was going off the track. VR allows you to, in my opinion, put you in the driver's seat of exotic cars that most of us will never own in our life, let alone see on the street. So that 917K, when PSVR 2 launches, then I might be interested in getting that car despite the ridiculous microtransactions. But I'm hoping that when PSVR 2 launches, I'm hoping that Sony and Polyphony Digital will make adjustments to the game that will make obtaining that car reasonable. So before we get into a couple of the races, I do want to talk about a few other things that I have titled for this stream. And the first one is the 3080 Ti. I pulled the trigger. I kind of gave into a scalper, and I bought a 3080 Ti off of eBay for $1,400. While I love a set of course of competition with favorite mark, car, and track, it can all be played in VR on PC. I have that game, but Great Tantrum, but I haven't done anything with the mods. I got to re-download that game again. When my Alienware took a crap and I built this PC and I had to go back and re-download my games, because the files were so big, there was only so much I could download in 1 month, so I don't go over my data cap. So I had to pick and choose which games that I was going to re-download. And so actually, I'm going to re-download Assetto Corsa tonight before I go to bed. And then Ham told me about the shader packs and stuff like that that you can get hold of that will make this game look beautiful in VR. Because, you know, in its native form in VR, it doesn't look all that good. The colors look washed out and stuff like that. So I'll definitely be getting a hold of that stuff. You know, plus I'm finally interested in taking a look at it, jumping behind the wheel of some of these Formula One cars. I saw the race today. Saw that Crash Steppen won, as they call him. ACC is great as a GT3 Ford Focus Sim, but said, of course, it has Formula and many other forms of racing. Of many other forms of racing cars. So yeah, I had to look at my phone to see your entire comment. Yeah, that's about it. Because it doesn't, from what I'm seeing, it doesn't really seem to make sense to go off and buy games like Formula One and buy R Factor this, which I did buy R Factor 2. I kind of think I think it's kind of dog shit. It doesn't have any VR support, and the graphics don't look that good to begin with. ACC is kind of like Gran Turismo Sport, but more open source. So, Assetto Corsa, the regular Assetto Corsa with the mods and shit like that, to me sounds like the Gran Turismo on PC, where there's so many different categories of cars that you can race. So yeah, I'll be checking that stuff out. But hey, ACC is still my preferred sim. No way around it. I love GT3 cars. I think they're superior machines. But if you want me to take it a step further, GTEs are probably more superior than GT3s. GT3 cars, from what I'm led to believe, they definitely have more power than GT3 cars and probably handle just as good. So, if it boiled down to it, I would probably rather drive a GTE car than a GT3. But the problem with the GTE cars is that they're mixed in a class with GTE AM and also the LMP cars, the LMP1 and LMP2. And the LMP cars just blow the GTE cars out of the water. I mean, they shoot past them like they're sitting still. But when you watch like the 24 hours of Le Mans, most of the cameras are focused on the GTE cars because they're the ones that seems to be the most evenly matched, and that's where you see most of the battles taking place. AC has LMP cars, yeah. So does Project Cars 2, and so does Gran Turismo. I hope that on Assetto Corsa, once I get these mods downloaded, I'm hoping that I can find that Toyota hypercar, the GR010. I think, I'm not sure, but R Factor 2 might have that car. I'm not sure if anybody else has that car. I do believe at some point down the road, GT7 will have that car. I don't know when, but I'd like to think that they'll get it, because if they went out of their way to get that Ford GTE, I don't see why they wouldn't. Most of your DLs can be found on Race Department. Okay. So, I mean, I'll get the game downloaded tonight, and then I think between you, Tantrum, and between you and Ham, I'd like to think that, I'll have all the information I need. So, getting back to the situation with me getting a 3080 Ti, I currently have a 3070 in my PC. A 3080 or a 3080 Ti is what I was looking for all along. But at the time that I got my 3070, it was the only thing available. I've told that story a million times, so we'll just shorten it by saying it was the only card that I could get my hands on, but it was still a big leap over the 2070 that I had. In terms of frames per second, the 3070 is probably about the same as a 2080 Ti. I think the only difference is that I think that the 3070 probably has a higher frame rate with HDR on from the videos that I've seen. But I think overall, without HDR, I think the 2080 Ti still has a slightly higher frame rate than the 3070. But the price is the big difference. I think the 2080 Ti was like $1,000 card, $1,200 card, or something like that when it was out. And the 3070 retails for $500 if you get the NVIDIA 3070. Now, in the case of the 3080 Ti that I just bought, it retails for $1,200, and I'm paying $1,400 for this one, basically to a scalper. I looked over this guy's history before I bought it, and this guy has a history of selling graphics cards higher than their retail price. I mean, just recently, I think he sold a 3080 for $1,800. Yeah, Tantrum, the 3070 performs like a 2080, but half the price, exactly. So from what I've seen, the 3080 Ti, depending on the game, is going to give me, as far as like frames per second, it's going to give me anywhere from 25 to 40 more frames per second, depending on the game. What that's going to do is give me a lot of leeway to make a lot of moves. I can make lateral moves, or like case in point, some of the like let's use Assetto Corsa Competizione as an example. It's a highly demanding game. If I run the game at 2160p at epic settings, how much is the 3080 Ti? It retails, the NVIDIA one retails for $1,200. I'm paying $1,400 for the one that I got off of eBay. So, getting back to the example, if I run Assetto Corsa Competizione in 2160p at epic settings, I'm getting about, I think about 75 frames per second. Now, if I drop it all the way down to 1080, if I drop it down to 1080p with high settings, I'm getting about 214 frames per second. But something else that has to be kept in mind is my CPU. I have the i9-12900K, which at the time that I bought it was the fastest CPU on the market. I think the i9-12900KS is coming out next month, and I think when that comes out, it's going to be the fastest CPU on the market. I'm not 100% sure. Don't quote me on this. I was skimming through an article, and I think they said that when that comes out next month, it'll be the fastest CPU on the market. So at the moment, the i9-12900K that I have made currently, so the CPU should still be good enough. Yeah, I mean, I think as of right now, the i9-12900K that I have, at the moment that we're speaking, it may still be the fastest CPU on the market. I'm not sure. But if it's not, it's probably the second or the third fastest. All that being said, you have to factor that in for the frame rates that I was getting on Assetto Corsa Competizione. So when I go into VR, I can turn the headset up to 2960p, and I can turn the VR settings all the way up to Epic, and I can probably max out at about 60 frames per second. But I think on average, I would probably be getting anywhere from 30 to 40 frames per second. But I've seen it. So I think with the 3080 Ti, I would like to think that 2160p at Epic settings will probably give me the full 72 frames per second or 72 hertz that I currently run my headset at. What that's going to do is give me more lateral movement, because right now with my Quest 2, I run that headset at 1632p at 72 hertz refresh rate or 72 frames per second, whichever way you decide to say it. The reason why I have to run it at those settings is because I still need to save some of my resources to run OBS when I'm streaming, to open up Discord so I can, jump into Discord with Ham and the rest of the fellas, to use the SimHub app so I can use my bass shakers to open up the YouTube chat, so I can pop out the YouTube chat and put it in the car with me so I can see everybody's comments. And if I choose to use Gamecast, what's good, my guy? And if I choose to use the Crew Chief app, I think I just ran off like 5 or 6 apps that could be open at once at any given time when I'm streaming Assetto Corsa Competizione. So the 3080 Ti is going to give me the lateral movement to turn up turn up the resolution or turn up the graphics on the game and still be able to maintain functionality of all the apps that are still open. So I still won't be able to turn everything up full blast when I'm streaming, but I'll still be able to turn it up more than what I'm doing right now. So the Quest 2 also needs PC power to stream everything to the headset too. So right away you should you lose performance quality. I'll put it this way. When you plug your Quest 2 up, Fatal Mephisto, what's good? When you plug the Quest 2 up to the PC, if you set it on automatic, the app will detect your PC settings and it will set the resolution and the refresh rate accordingly. So if I set it on automatic, it will recommend, I believe it will recommend that I run the headset. Here, actually, let me just go to the PC right now. So hang on a second, people. I'm actually going to check, because I think it recommends that I run it at 2096p at 80 frames per second. So hold on. Devices, currently I've got it set at 1632p at 72 hertz. So what I'm going to do is set it on automatic. So right now, with the recommended settings, the refresh rate is at 72 hertz and it recommends 4128 by 2096. That's what it will run at if I just run that by itself. But once I open up like OBS and Discord and all kinds of other stuff, the performance is going to be affected. I'm going to see frame drops and stuff like that. So I would have to turn the resolution down in order to make sure everything runs smoothly. So that's just the way it is. So the 3080 Ti will give me the lateral movement to turn turn stuff up, turn the headset up more, or turn my in-game graphics up more, and then I'm not, I won't have to compromise anything else. So, but Quest 2 is not native PC headset. It streams PC content, causing precious performance loss. That's why I stay with the Rift S. Trust me, Tantrum, I wanted to stay with my Rift S, but for some funny reason, my Rift S, when I plug it into this PC, the audio is not working, but it was working fine on my Alienware. I don't know what it is, because that headset it runs at 1440p, at 80 hertz refresh rate. So, and it's native to the PC. So it's not a situation like with the Quest 2 where it's compressing a signal, sending it to the headset, and then decompressing it. So yes, in that sense, yes, it taxes the PC more. No question about that. And that's another reason why I'm getting the 3080, because I'm going to need that extra overhead. But believe me, if my Rift S was functioning the way it, if it was functioning correctly, that's the headset that I would be using. It's a comfortable headset. I don't mind the slight screen door effect of the Rift S. I think it's a good headset, and it was running pretty good. And when I had my Alienware and I had the Rift S connected to that, everything pretty much ran beautifully. But the Alienware took a dump. I was forced to build a new PC, and then when I connected the Rift S to the new PC, the audio won't work. I can see I can see in the headset, but no audio. I don't know why. But if I ever figure that out, even if I do figure it out, it's no need for me to go back to the Rift S, because, what would be the purpose of buying a 3080 Ti if I plan to go back to the Rift S? What I have right now is more than good enough to run the Rift S. So, we got that out of the way. Let's go on to the next subject before we jump into a race, and that is the Fanatec GT, the CSL DD Pro. You save money? Not exactly. I work a lot of overtime, and that gives me, if you go back, honestly, Tantrum, even though the Alienware was getting the job done with the Rift S, my overall goal was to build a new PC anyway. Because a 3080 or 3080 Ti, that graphics card is too big to fit inside of that Alienware, because there's just no room. So I was going to have to build a new PC anyway. And I decided if I was going to build a new PC, I wanted to go with a 3080 or a 3080 Ti to begin with. So when I bought that 3070, it was just a stopgap to get me through until I can actually get my hands on a 3080 or a 3080 Ti. You should wait till the 4000 series if I were you. Yeah, but it's going to cost a lot more money, and it's going to be a lot harder to get. So I'm fine with going with a 3080 Ti. Maybe somewhere down the line, when the 4000 cards are a little bit easier to get, and I don't have to pay scalper prices, maybe then. But no, I'm not trying to get one of those day one. So that being said, I'm fine with going with the 3080 Ti. And if you look at videos right now, if you're paying retail, you would be better off getting a 3080 Ti than a 3090, because the 3090 is just barely better than the 3080 Ti. So let me get back to the subject at hand, and that's talking about the Fanatec CSL DD Pro. So I get asked a lot about the Drivehub adapter. And as you guys can see, it does work. And I've recommended the Drivehub adapter under certain conditions. And my situation being one of them. I have this DD1, which was $1,200, and the wheel and the metal quick release was another $300. So just this wheelbase and my wheel is $1,500. Well, the official DD1 that's been licensed for the PlayStation, it comes with a Formula One wheel and it costs $1,800. At the time, I was thinking $1,200 for this wheelbase, and I already had this wheel at the time. So the way I was looking at it was I would be paying an extra $600 for that Formula DD1, and I would have no need for that Formula wheel. So I would have to turn around and try to sell that Formula wheel to recoup some of the money. So the thought of spending an extra $600, I was like, nah. And I was thinking to myself that what I would do, one of the things that I would do was I would buy the Drivehub adapter and use the CSL Elite I had at the time to play games on the PS4 or the PS5. Well, I ended up selling that CSL Elite to a young lady on Twitch. And so I had ended up buying the Drivehub adapter to use on this. So people have asked me, does the Drivehub adapter work? Is it worth it? Yes, it does work. Is it worth it under certain conditions? Yes. This condition would be one of them. If you already own a DD1 and you don't want to turn around and spend $1,800 for the Formula DD1 bundle that's officially licensed for the PlayStation, then spending $90 for the Drivehub adapter would be worth it. But on the other hand, if you have not bought a direct drive wheelbase and you were to come to me and said, I want to get the CSL DD, but because I don't want to spend the money for the DD Pro, would you recommend the Drivehub adapter along with that? I would tell them no, because you would end up spending the same amount of money that you would as the DD Pro. The CSL DD with the power pack is $500. The CSL DD Pro that's licensed for PlayStation is $600. So you're thinking to yourself that you would spend $100 more. But when you factor in the Drivehub for the standard CSL DD, you're paying another $90. You would be better off going with the DD Pro because it is officially licensed for the PlayStation. Therefore, it is native to the PlayStation, and the force feedback will be native. That is the trade-off that I got with using the Drivehub adapter. Not every single one of my buttons work. The game through the Drivehub adapter does not recognize every single button on my McLaren GT3 wheel. Not only that, the force feedback feels belt driven because with the Drivehub adapter, I have to put this wheelbase in PC compatibility mode. So instead of a DD1, the PS5 it thinks that I'm playing on a Club Sport 2.5, and that is a belt-driven wheelbase. Therefore, my feedback feels belt-driven. But when I use this wheelbase on PC, it's native for PC. So my force feedback, it feels like direct drive wheel feedback. Some of the feedback can be sharp. It can even be violent. But it's definitely native with like virtually no latency. So that being said, if you were to come to me and say, should I get the CSL DD with the Drivehub or should I get the DD Pro? I'll tell you to get the DD Pro. Don't try to cheap out because you're going to spend the same thing anyway when you factor in the Drivehub adapter. C Slim, what is up, my guy? And then, so that takes care of that subject. So the final subject, before we get ready to jump into a race, is this is true. Only go Clay's route if you already have the gear, but if you're new, go with the GT DD Pro. Absolutely, Tantrum. So the final nail in the coffin, the subject that I want to talk about is PSVR 2. PSVR 2, I think, is going to look miles better than the current PSVR. But I have cautioned people in the past to temper their expectations and do not think that what you see on flat screen is exactly what you're going to see through the headset, because you're not. VR taxes hardware much more than a flat screen game. I described it to you guys when I explained the situation with Assetto Corsa Competizione. If I turn the game down to 1080p on high settings, I can get 214 frames. But if I jump into VR at the current settings that I have, 1632p at 72 hertz, I'm getting roughly, I believe, 70 frames per second. That's far off from the 214 that I would be getting running 1080p flat screen. No way around it. VR taxes the shit out of hardware. So here's another example. GT Sport on the PS4 and the PS4 Pro is still a great looking game. Nobody's going to look at GT Sport on PS4 Pro and say that looks like some old gen shit. That looks like a dinosaur. Still an amazing looking game. So to use a PC comparison, if you were to say that GT Sport on PS4 Pro would be PC settings, would be PC on ultra settings, when you turn around and put on the PSVR headset, it is low settings. It is a downgrade. I would say that some of the assets, you could make a case that some of the assets have been watered down or stripped out so it could run good. And the fact that on PSVR on GT Sport, you can only run time trials or one-on-one against the AI should tell you something right there. The standard PS4 does not have the horsepower to run a full grid on GT Sport online multiplayer on the current PSVR. It just doesn't have the horsepower to do it. Now, from what I've heard, they did it on PS4 Pro, that they were able to run multiplayer on the PS4 Pro full grid. But because Sony mandated that anything that's done on the PS4 Pro, the PS4 has to be included because of parity, we weren't given that luxury on the PS4 Pro. If they would have made PSVR on GT Sport able to run a full grid and online multiplayer in VR, it would have split the user base. Those lobbies would have been empty. As far as PS4 Pro, PSVR, if they would have had a separate lobby for that shit, they would have been empty. So they decided to just cut that out, keep the user base together. Now, coming back to GT7, this shows you how much even the most elite people that play GT7, this shows you how little they know about VR. I've seen some of the top YouTubers, when they talk about GT7, one of the things that they were concerned about and one of the things that they complained about before the game released was that the game renders 20 cars. And they were thinking, with the power of the PS5, with the PS5 being 5 times as powerful as the standard PS4 and double the power of the PS4 Pro, that they don't see any reason why this game shouldn't be able to have like a 30-car multiplayer lobby. Soon as I found out that this game only had a 20-player 20-player multiplayer lobby, the first thing that came to my head was they have to save some of those resources for PSVR 2 in order to have multiplayer on PSVR 2. They didn't see that. So that shows you how little they fuck with VR. They didn't know. They just don't know. Tell you the truth, I never would have known all this stuff if I never would have made the jump over to PC. I started out on PSVR, and I was the one that was grumbling like on like GT Sport. I'm like, hey, Drive Club, it's an 8-player multiplayer lobby. Why can't GT Sport do that? You can race against, single player. You can race against an 8-car grid. Why can't GT Sport do that? They had already admitted that if they would have tried that, it would have been a mess. I didn't realize it was because of the weak PS4 that they could not do it, because it just didn't have enough power to do it. And so these VR games, as I continue to buy more and more VR games on PSVR, I started out screaming about the graphics. I was like, why don't these games look like the PS4? Why do these games have PS2 graphics? It wasn't until I bought a PC and realized how much VR taxes the hardware that I realized that one of the big reasons why a lot of these VR games have PS2 type graphics is because it taxes the shit out of the hardware. And in some games on PlayStation VR, that's one of the reasons why some of the games are using the DualShock 4 controller instead of the Move controllers. Because I'm guessing it would be a nightmare to map some of these controllers to the Move controllers, as well as that I think it would use more resources. Hence, you had that situation with the Hitman 3. Sony deceived people when they showed the trailer of Hitman 3 in VR, and you pulled out and they showed that cable where you were getting ready to wrap it around somebody's neck and strangle them. I'm thinking that you'll be able to do it with Move controllers free-handed like this. Well, the game comes out, it turns out you got to use a controller like this. And I'm like, that's bullshit. And then I realized it because how much VR taxes the hardware. The developers did what they could with the limited hardware that they had. I do worry that GT7 will not get VR because it's a cross-gen title and they don't support 120 hertz mode. And let me get that full. And they do not support 120 hertz mode and only 20-car multiplayer. That's the reason, in my opinion, why there's 20-car multiplayer. So because they need the extra overhead to run the VR. I think Polyphony Digital has already been quoted as saying that improving the VR was one of their priorities. And then the reason why I think I'm almost certain that the game is going to get VR support is because it doesn't have it now. I think that if they had no intentions of bringing multiplayer VR to PS5, they would have went ahead and gave us the current PSVR that we have on GT Sport. I said this before. If they were to give GT7 VR support, they would have to do it on the PS4 version on the current PSVR. Because right now, when you play PSVR on PS5, you're not playing it native. The PS5 reverts itself back to a PS4, and you're basically playing VR on a PS4 console. That being said, you're going to be bound by the same limitations as the current PSVR. So, if the devs would have given GT7 VR support, simply put, they would be giving it VR support on the PS4. That being said, you would have got the same shit on GT7 that you got on PS4. Time trials and one-on-one versus the AI. You don't want to do that with PSVR 2 around the corner, because if you give the PS4 version of GT7 VR support and they can only do 1 versus 1 against the AI, or they can only do time trials, it sends a terrible and confusing message to customers. It makes them think that if they buy PSVR 2, this is what they're going to get. And then Sony would have to put out so many damn messages and videos clarifying all that. In my opinion, in the best interest of selling as many PSVR units as they can, it is best that they do not give the PS4 any kind of support. That being said, they made the right move for this game not to have any kind of VR support right now at launch. When they finally start giving us information about PSVR 2 and they show us some shit from GT7, believe me, they're going to show you that you can race in VR multiplayer, because that was the biggest complaint about the current PSVR on GT Sport. You don't want to send a confusing message. And so, here's another reason why I believe GT7 is going to get VR support. I said this yesterday on my stream. Assetto Corsa Competizione with the next gen patch on the PS5 renders 30 cars, 60 frames per second at 4K. That is amazing. It runs great and it looks great. One of the devs for Assetto Corsa Competizione has a YouTube channel. His name is Eris Drives. I'm sub to his channel. Yesterday he was streaming, and I sent a super chat asking him, will the next gen ACC on PS5 get PSVR 2 support? And he said probably not, because the physics are too much for the PS5 and it would draw too many resources. Don't you think that if Assetto Corsa Competizione next gen patch on PS5 would eventually get VR support, don't you think they would reduce the number of cars, the number of the multiplayer lobby? They would reduce it from 30 to 20, just like GT7. That being said, I do think GT7 is going to get VR support, and as much as it hurts me to hear that news, I think ACC next gen on PS5 probably will not get VR support. If they do give ACC next gen on PS5 VR support and they're still able to maintain a 30-player lobby, that will be a fucking miracle. So I missed a couple of comments here. Let me backtrack. C Slim, what's good, my guy? I'm sorry I didn't acknowledge you the minute you sent out that comment. I didn't want to lose my train of thought. I wanted to stay on track. So here, I got to change glasses for a second here, Tantrum, so I can see your full comments, because you got a couple of long ones. So you said, I do worry that GT7 will not get VR because of the cross-gen title. Yeah, like I already responded to that one. PS5 does get full 4K 60 with higher and better assets, along with ray tracing and showroom and cutscenes. See, and that's another thing. People don't realize that ray tracing taxes the shit out of the hardware. You notice that most of these games on PS5, when you enable the ray tracing mode, the game runs at 30 frames per second. When you turn off the ray tracing, the game can run at 60 frames per second. There's no way that they would be able to run GT7 4K 60 in VR with a 20-player lobby, VR multiplayer, along with ray tracing. For one thing, Sony will not allow it. Sony has a cutoff with VR of how many frames that it can run. I think with the current PSVR, I think any game that's on there has to be able to run like 90 frames per second or some shit like that. There is no way Sony will let a game onto the PSVR 2 that only runs at 30 frames per second because you want to enable the ray tracing. It won't happen. If the game can only do 30 frames per second flat screen with ray tracing on, it'll do even less than that in VR. It'll probably do 15 frames per second. Tantrum, Kaz did show VR support using their latest Gran Turismo engine some year back or so. So there is interest there. Whatever they plan for GT7, Jimmy, what's good? What's good? Whatever they plan for GT7 going in the future, it cannot break the PS4 version. I'm telling you right now, the PS4 version, I do not think is going to get any support whatsoever. Because if they add VR support to the PS5 version, let's go back to the possibility that GT7 on PS5, on PSVR 2, if they give you a 20-player multiplayer lobby in VR, it can't be done on the PS4. If they tell Polyphony Digital that you have to include the PS4 along with the VR support, it won't be able to do multiplayer. So you're going to get that bullshit version that we're getting right now on PS5. That's why there is no VR support. They do not want to send a confusing message. Again, if they give the PS4 version VR support, what you're going to get is time trials and 1v1 versus a first grade AI. If people buy the current VR and they see that shit and they think this is what awaits you if you buy PSVR 2, they won't buy it. So the best thing to do is just not put the shit on the PS4 at all so it doesn't send a confusing message. When PSVR 2 comes out, this is going to be one of the games where Sony wants to put its best foot forward to show everybody what VR can do. They're going to want to show everybody that this game looks much better in VR than GT Sport does on the PS4 on the current PSVR. They're also going to want to show everybody that this game can be played multiplayer. And to me, it would be a huge mistake to give GT7 VR support on the current PSVR. Is just not strong enough. The current PSVR is tied to the PS4, and that's the bottom line. It is not tied to the PS5. You can play games on the PS5. You're essentially playing shit backwards compatibility, is another way of saying it. I said it before. That's why you had to get that adapter. Why you had to go to Sony's website to get that adapter for your current PSVR camera. When you play any games on your PS5, you're not playing it as a PS5 game. The console reverts back to a PS4, and again, you're bound by the limitations of the current PSVR. You're still getting the same drift that you would get on the PS4. You're still getting the same blurry games that you would get on the PS4. So that is the last thing they need to do, is bring that shit over to GT7 and send that horrible message to potential buyers of PSVR 2. So that's not why I included PSVR 2 in the title of this stream. What I wanted to caution everybody about was a couple of days ago, I made a post that Horizon Call It a Mountain, the Horizon VR game that's going to be coming to PlayStation VR 2, may be a streaming only game. If they go that route, I will not be buying that game. Because if it is a streaming only game, if you run into a situation where you lose your internet connection or the Sony servers go down, you may not have access to that game, which will not set in well with me. The question is why would Sony make this a streaming only game? I've come up with 3 possibilities as to why they might do something like that. Just a minute, Tantrum. Let's see what your latest comment is. I will play GT7 on my Pro, as it is truly a native PS4 game. The PS5 version is actually a last-minute upgrade for PS5 owners. That may be true, but it's still... But the fact that it's still 20-player lobbies still tells me that they need that extra overhead for the VR for PS5. So what I think is going to happen is the extra overhead that they're going to have for the PS5, for PSVR 2, I think they're going to integrate it. So I think PS4 owners, PS5 people who choose to play the game flat screen, and PSVR 2 people who choose to race in VR, I think they're all going to be able to race in the same room. But if you give the VR support, if you give the PS4 VR support, it won't work. It just won't. So anyway, I'm going off the tracks again. Coming back to this situation with Horizon Call of the Mountain being an extremely only game. You know what? So I guess the long and short of it, I could read the article if you guys want me to read it word for word. But the short version of it is, I guess Sony filed 2 patents on this game. One patent that they filed this game as a non-downloadable game. And I guess they filed the patent as such that it could be a title, a streaming title. But then they also filed a patent as this game being downloadable, which is really confusing. So I guess they use like Halo Infinite as an example. You can choose to download that game or you can choose to stream it. And I think Microsoft filed the game under both patents as both a streaming game and a downloadable game. Now, from what I understand, if you want to stream the game, you have to subscribe to, I'm thinking xCloud or PC Game Pass or some shit like that. I'm not sure. It's very confusing that in one patent, Sony says that this game is non-downloadable, but on another patent, they say that it is downloadable. So the reason why I'm cautioning people about this, and this may not set in well with my VR constituents, but I think there's 3 reasons why, if Sony makes this game a streaming only game, there's one of 3 reasons why they're doing it. One is they may be planning to deceive people. If it's a streaming only game, you might be streaming the game from a central computer. And what that would ultimately do is you will see the game the way Sony intended the game to be seen. It's going to have the most beautiful graphics and shit like that, and how well it shows up all depends on your internet connection. And when people see how beautiful that game looks, it's going to mislead them into believing that all PSVR 2 games are going to look like that. And then once they get the headset and they actually see what some of these games look like, they are probably not going to be happy. I'm planning on doing a stream this week to break this down, because just explaining to you guys here isn't going to be enough. So I'm planning on doing a stream this week to show you guys. So, like, there's a couple of games that's coming to... I'll give you guys an example. On PC, we have a first-person shooter called Pavlov. It is arguably the best-looking first-person shooter game in VR. The developer of that game came up with 2 versions of the game. He has Pavlov that's on PC, and he has Pavlov Shack, which is on the Oculus Quest standalone. Now, Pavlov Shack on the Oculus Quest standalone, the graphics look like PS2 graphics. That is the version that is coming to PSVR 2. I was wondering, why the fuck would you bring the standalone? Why would you bring the Quest version to PSVR 2 instead of the PC version? But I guess he's adding some shit to the PC that he said is bleeding edge. And he stopped short of saying that the PS5 would not be able to handle it. So he's bringing the Quest version to PSVR 2, which the PS5 should be able to handle that easy because it's going to have PS2 type graphics. I think the other game, and the other, and then I already answered the other question mark as to why GT7 has a 20-player lobby, when it should easily be able to run a 30-player lobby. Especially you see ACC with the next gen patch doing it on PS5. It's running a 30-player lobby. Why can't GT7 do it? So what I plan to do is show you this week. I'm basically going to be regurgitating what I'm saying right now, but I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to show you Pavlov Shack, and then I'm going to show you Pavlov on PC side by side so you can see the graphics. And then you'll be saying, why the fuck is this Quest version coming to PSVR, when they should have more than enough power to be able to run the PC version? That takes me back to what I was trying to allude to, that the PSVR 2 is going to be able to run a lot of PC games that we have right now, but there are some games that it just might not be able to run. Currently, right now, in VR, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners is a good example. On a scale of how good these games look, the Quest version is at the bottom. Then you have PSVR 2. The current PSVR. That version looks better than the Quest. And then you have the PC version, which looks better than PSVR. That could be the situation that you're going to have with some of these games on PSVR 2. Like, for instance, I think it's a given that Half-Life Alyx is going to come to PSVR 2. They've dropped hints about wanting to bring it to PSVR 2. I think it's going to happen. That being said, I don't think that the PSVR 2 version is going to look as good as PC. I think it's going to look good, but not as good as the PC version, because I think they're going to have to strip some things out to be able to make this thing run on PSVR 2. If they go balls out and give us exactly what we got on PC, either it's either not going to look good or it's going to run like dog shit, one or the other. So I think there's going to be a little bit of a compromise. And so this brings me back to bringing up three possibilities as to why Horizon Call of the Mountain could be a streaming only game. Is, like I said, one reason could be is Sony is planning to deceive everybody and say, this is what all games are going to look like on PSVR 2, which would be some underhanded, grimy shit if they did that. After the shit that Sony pulled with this game here, I don't 100% trust them. They've given in to Western greed, and part of greed is lying to people and not being transparent with them. They lie to them, and then when they get busted and everybody jumps all over their neck, they come out with these bullshit apologies. So I think in the case of this, if Sony's planning to deceive people with Horizon Call of the Mountain, they're not going to apologize. People could get outraged when they buy that game, and then the next game they buy on PSVR 2 ends up looking like some shit right out of PS2. You're not going to hear anything from Sony. No apologies, no nothing. They're just going to stay silent. Because some backlash that Sony gets, some of it they don't respond to it. Because it would be the last thing they might do is make shit worse by responding to it. I get all that. I think. Hold on. Let me come back to you, Tantrum. Half-Life Alyx on PSVR 2 could look as good as PC. How? Eye track, foveated rendering, also variable rate shaders rendering. Those two things could bring up the quality. Yeah. I think it will be close to PC, but not as good as PC. The foveated rendering, the eye tracking, the gaze tracking, the AMD FSR or FRS, which is the equivalent of NVIDIA's DLSS. All that stuff factored in is going to make it look good. And it's going to take a lot of stress off of the hardware, but I still don't think it will look as good as the highest end PCs. If somebody's playing Half-Life Alyx on a 1080 Ti or a 2060 or something, the PS5 version might look as good as those. But if somebody's playing Half-Life Alyx on a 3070, 3080, 3080 Ti, 3090, no, I don't think it's going to look as good as those. All that being said, I think it all depends on these games. Because some of these games are highly demanding, some of them are not. I think a lot of the third-party games that's going to come to PlayStation VR 2, I think you're going to have a hard time telling the difference between PSVR 2 and PC. But I think there's going to be some games that you will be able to tell the difference. And I think Half-Life Alyx could possibly be one of them. Medal of Honor is another game that I think will come to PSVR 2. That's another game that may not look as good as PC. That is unless they decide to bring the Quest version to PSVR 2. The PC version of Medal of Honor has a file of 174 gigs. The Quest version of Medal of Honor, I believe, is 48 gigs. The problem with the Quest version is if you have a 64 gig Quest, you have to completely wipe out all your games in order to fit Medal of Honor on there. 48 gigs on the Oculus Quest is enormous. The Oculus Quest version of Medal of Honor VR will easily run on PSVR 2. If they were to port the PC version of Medal of Honor 2 to PSVR 2, I'm thinking they may have to make some slight compromises. Not going to look like dog shit. It's just not going to look as good as PC. So the other reason why it's possible about the streaming assets, the streaming aspect of Horizon, call it a mountain, is that the PS5 may not be strong enough to make it look the way Sony wants people to see it. So it's possible that the basis for the game for people to see it would be the PS5, but they could use, they could use the cloud to stream in assets to help the PS5 to make it look the way people want it, the way Sony wants people to see it. That could be another aspect. So if that's something that they could do, I could see Sony being transparent about that. Maybe they'll forewarn people that, hey, this is the way the game looks, but if you want what's the word I want to use? If you want the enhanced version of the game, you would need to sync up with the cloud. That could be something that I could see Sony saying. So I guess it's more or less two reasons why, rather than three. I can't remember what the third reason was going to be. So I just had a brain fart because I've been jumping back and forth between giving my theory on why this could be a streaming only game to also jumping back to Tantrum's comments about GT7 with that situation. So at the end of the day, I think PSVR 2, as far as its graphics and performance goes, is going to be in the ballpark of PC, but I don't think it's going to be as good as PC. So, with that, wow, that was a really lengthy podcast. Here's another thing to think about. Now the rumored PS5 Pro. Why upgrade the hardware? I'm not buying the PS5 Pro. Why? Because VR needs it. I'm not buying it. I think the PS5 and the PS5 Pro, PS5 Pro relative to PSVR 2, I think the only thing you are going to get over the PS5 is slightly better graphics. Sony has been fucking around with VR before 2016, before the headset release. The headset released in October of 2016. Sony has had plenty of time to get it right. So if you're coming out with the PS5 and you're supposed to be, in PSVR 2, but you need to come out with a PS5 Pro because VR needs it, then that means you realize that you fucked up after you came out with PSVR 2 and PS5 linked together. Oh shit, this isn't working the way we need to. We got to hurry up and, make a PS5 with more power. I'm not going to buy it. The reason why is because they're going to demand the same situation that we have with the current PSVR. They're going to demand parity, and they do not want the user bases separated. That takes me back to the situation with GT Sport relative to PSVR. I've said it before. I've heard rumors on the PS4 Pro that they were able to get GT Sport VR multiplayer running, and it worked. But the reason why they didn't do it is because they did not want to split the user base, because the standard PS4 cannot do it. And as I said before, from a VR perspective, if they split the user base and take full advantage of what the PS4 Pro can do, there's going to be a lot of games, especially multiplayer games, where people on the PS4 and the people on the PS4 Pro are going to be separated. Therefore, the lobbies are going to be a fucking desert. Nobody's going to be there. So fast forward to the possible situation with PS5 and PS5 Pro. And we'll use GT7 as the example. PSVR 2 comes out for GT7. You got 20 player lobbies. If PS5 Pro has enough power to run 30 player lobbies in VR, and they separated those two user bases, people on the PS5 are going to be in an empty lobby. So in all likelihood, in order to prevent that from happening, Sony is going to mandate that anything that is developed for the PS5 Pro, the PS5 must be included in it. Therefore, other than slightly better graphics, you're going to be bound to the same limitations as the PS5 on PSVR 2. That being said, makes no sense for me to get the PS5 Pro relative to PSVR 2. You will not get better frame rates in the PS5 because Sony won't allow it. Let's see here. They will call it the no compromise system. Full VR, full graphics without choosing graphics versus performance modes. We'll see. But I think Sony is going to mandate parity between the two consoles. Now, one game where they were able to get away with not having to compromise anything is Star Wars Squadrons. The game is multiplayer on PS4, PS4 Pro, and the beautiful part is crossplay with PC. So hats off to EA for making that happen. PS4 Pro supports flight sticks. Hats off to EA on that one. You know, naturally we knew we were going to be able to use flight sticks on PC. But that's one of the games where they did not have to compromise the VR in terms of, you know, the PS4 and the PS4 Pro. And that's one game where they didn't have to nerf the PS4 Pro version in order to accommodate the PS4 standard PS4. But GT Sport is a prime example of they nerfed the PS4 Pro version in order to accommodate the PS4. So I hope that ends up not being the case with PSVR 2, but No Man's Sky also. Whoa! Now the PS4 version of No Man's Sky in VR doesn't look good. I don't want to use the word dog shit. That's a harsh word. People were waiting for a patch for the PS4 Pro version. They eventually got it, like a whole fucking year later. Long after people lost interest, you know, long after people started moving away from the game. I haven't been back to look at it. Because I really, for one thing, I don't have the game anymore. I had the physical version of the game, and I believe I gave it to Titanfall Princess when I sent her a PSVR headset. I already have the game on PC. And because of how blurry it looked on the PS4 Pro before it got the Pro patch, I had no interest in going back to it. So, I don't know. But when PSVR 2 comes out, if they decide to give the game a coat of paint, it'll definitely look better, and it will definitely run better. But I don't think the game ran bad to begin with. It just didn't look that good. So, right. Enough talk. We've talked about my subjects. Let's go ahead and jump into one of these cafe races. So what I got to do is come down here to the Pan American Championship. I am using, they made upgrades to No Man's Sky on PS5. So yeah, they gave it a coat of point. They gave it a coat of paint. And it probably loads faster because of the SSD. But essentially, I think you still play in the PS4 version of it. You know, to me, it's no different than playing the PS4 version of a game versus the PS4 Pro. If the devs decide to do it and give the PS4 Pro a coat of paint, then it's going to look better than the PS4 version, but you're essentially still playing the PS4 version. I think that's the case with PS5. The No Man's Sky that you're playing to me is not a PS5 version. It's not a next gen version. They just enhanced the graphics. That's not a bad thing. I'm just still pointing out that you're still playing the PS4 version of the game. So this Mustang GT here, I boosted up its PP a little bit by upgrading the suspension, because the car did have a lot of body roll. So we've got 3 races, 6 laps. I got to finish up in 3rd place or better. The purpose of this race was that Luca wants you to take one of your cars, think like a Ford or a Chevy, one of those sports cars, and take it to the shop and put a wide body kit on it. So let's go. They started me off 16th place. 15th. Oh Oh, shit. Not a way to start this race. Oh, that's not good either. I'll check your comment in a second, Tantrum. Oh, keep smacking that wall. Oh, oh my God. Mr. Fraga. Well, take it and run. Let's get out of here. It's all scratched up in the front. Ooh, 35,000 credits. Ooh-wee. No, 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 no. Let's go on to the next race. This race, I cannot afford to screw up the way I was that first race. I probably could be a little bit more aggressive, but I'm just trying to stay clean and let the rest take care of itself, because I know this car is enough to beat these AI cars at the level that they're set at. So there's no need for me to be over aggressive and do anything stupid. Just stay clean, and I'll catch them in plenty of time. Cockpit view for race 3? Yeesh. I could, but I may not be as aggressive. I may not be able to turn in a faster time. But I guess I could try it if you want me to. All I'm really concerned about is finishing up third or better. Because even with all the upgrades I made to this car, it's under certain situations it still becomes unstable. And all of a sudden got dark real quick. I got faster every lap. Look at that. Boy, that car beautiful. Look like Knight Rider. 52 simoleons. Oh, daily workout, 1-star roulette. That ain't gonna be shit. They ain't gonna give me shit for that. By now, we already know the deal with those roulette tickets. Crumb time. All right, Jimmy, for you, I'm going to run this race through the cockpit. Here comes your measly 5,000 credits. This mode is definitely more immersive, but what I tried to tell everybody on my last stream is that I would be a lot faster if I could run with this car angle if I was in VR. I can do it single player, but this isn't the camera angle for me to be in when I'm racing online, because these guys are obviously online. These guys are obviously much faster than AI. But yeah, you're right. This is more immersive in this way. This is the way I would prefer to run it. Damn near lost it too. Yeah, and that's the whole thing about it, is being able to see more of the road. See, I almost overshot the road. Part of it was because I was looking at that comet, and the other part of it was, you know, I'm in the cockpit. If I would have been in the back end slipping, I can feel it. If this was an online race, there's no way I could drive this slow and expect to be competitive. This turn, you got to be careful because it's easy to lose that back end. If you step on the gas going over that hill. No, this is the one right here that I mean. Especially if the tires is touching that rumble strip. Shit. Was watching the clock, trying to see what my best lap was going to be. Oh, the car came loose. Look at that, I shattered it. $140.92. You got faster every lap. I was trying to see your comment, Jimmy, about I think being in third gear at turn 3. I wasn't paying attention to necessarily what corner, but I was trying to pay attention to any curve where I'm normally in second gear. I try to go to third to see what would happen. And The car felt like it was being bogged down, but it must have worked because I turned in a faster lap. You know, I turned in a faster time every lap. Woo, 70,000 credits. Which one? Let's go middle. Oh, I think I got the best car out of those three. All right. We'll take that. I watched this for a quick second, but then it's working its way towards 10 o'clock. The last lap you done third gear, it looked decent. Definitely worked good on good 3 daily race. Thank you. But naturally, if I would have had the over the hood angle, I would have been more aggressive. You're shooting right through those cars. You can see when I step on the gas, the ass end of that car dropped. Yeah, go number on daily race. Oh yeah, go bumper on daily race. Yeah, definitely. Here in the States, we used to call a Mustang a Stang for short. Stang, stank, you know, kind of put the two together, Stang. So we call a Mustang a Stang for short. You see that back end slide around a corner? I'm damn near drifting around that corner. But that's where I told you guys I felt the car coming loose. That thing digging. The Knight Rider on the ass. And you can see that body roll and see the nose dropping every time I hit the brakes. And then you see the ass drop when I step on the gas. You're going to have to get out of my way now, Viper. I got work to do now. You're going to have to get out of my way now, other Stang. That's where I scraped the wall, but then you didn't see it. Man, that car moving though. pretty good replay angles. We ain't gonna watch this whole thing, but I'm still getting mesmerized by the camera angles. The camera angles look really, really good. It did a really good job of on the final corner, really hugged the right corner to a great exit. Right on the grass. Yeah, I was trying to use all of the road. And then the other thing was, I didn't want to turn, scrape the wall, damn. And the other thing was, I didn't want to oversteer the car, so I would rather understeer the car than oversteer it. You know, especially like on ACC, if you understeer a car and then you make a hard turn to kind of correct it, if you feel the car starting to oversteer, you can still feather the gas a little bit to help straighten the car out. This game, I'm not so certain that technique would work. So that being said, I would rather understeer the car and then gently ease off of the gas and let the car kind of straighten itself out. So yeah, that was nice, nice camera angles. So let's go back and see what he's gonna give me. Let's go head back to the cafe, and then I'm probably gonna wrap it up there. Excellent work. You won the Pan American Championship. I have your reward ready. Take it. You've earned it. Ooh, we're gonna open that. Upgrade your Porsche. New book acquired. All right, let's see what he's got. Let's see here. Tuned to a PP of 600 to 650. Now that you're a proud owner of a Porsche, I was thinking of having you compete in the Porsche Cup. Depends on your car. If you're using your Group 3s, I'm sure that wouldn't happen as much. Oh, yeah, no question about that. But that particular race that I was competing in, it required me to take a Ford or a Chevy and put a wide body kit on it. So even with all the upgrades I made to it, it was still going to have some body roll. I mean, you seen the way the front end was dropping. You see the way the ass dropped when I hit the accelerator. You seen the body roll going around corners. But, you know, being that this is, I'm trying to fill up a cafe book, a menu book, I wouldn't have been able to use a GT3 car in that particular race. Cars with PPE of up to 650 are allowed to enter. So you may find a normal Porsche might be out of its element. Therefore, I suggest you head over to the tuning shop and tweak your car so it's 600. So its PP is 600 or more. Don't forget, your PP can't exceed 650, or you won't be allowed to enter. If your Porsche does have a PP that exceeds 650, try fitting tuning parts that would decrease it or adjust the settings a little. So, for example, using a power restrictor will limit your engine output and lower your PP. You can also lower your tire grade or add weight as with a ballast. It's up to you. For this menu, I'd like you to prepare a Porsche with less than 650 pp for the race. When you're set, come back to the cafe. I'll be waiting. So what I want to know is, so I bought a Porsche GT3 car. I wonder if I can use that. Otherwise, it looks to me like they'll probably want me to upgrade the Porsche that they just gave me. So I'm probably not going to run the race, but I still want to see if they'll let me use my Porsche GT3, the 911 RS. Oh, they want me to head over to the tuning shop next. So, well, let's open these tickets. Let's open these tickets first. Let's open the 1-star since we know that's definitely going to be bullshit. If it's not the gold brick or the nitrous kit, I got no use for it. We knew it. A whole 5,000 credits. You knew it. All right, let's try this one. Okay, I could use that Benz, but they gonna give me the bullshit coins, a measly 5,000 credits, but I want that AMG. Tuning parts. Bullshit that I don't need for a car that I probably don't plan on using. Bullshit. So let's see here. Oh, the PP on that car is too high. I can't use that car. So I would have to use the Porsche that they gave me. So I'm going to have to upgrade this car to somewhere between 600 and 650 pp, which means I've got to spend money to enter it in the race. And the amount of money that I'm going to spend may not equate to what I get in prize money. So this is more bullshit of this economy and how this shit is wired. So I'm going to get ready to go so I can get ready to get everything ready for work in the morning and get ready for bed. But remember where we are leaving off at. Because when we come back, I'll jump back in this car. I'll take it to the tuning shop. Since I got to bring the PP up to 600 because that's mandatory. This isn't a situation where I could just go in there the way the car is. He's telling me I have to upgrade this car to a PP of somewhere between 600 and 650. That means in all likelihood, to get the best performance out of the cars, I'm going to have to buy appropriate tires, brakes, probably suspension, a racing exhaust. All that shit's probably going to end up costing about $100,000, but I won't even get that type of money back for the prize money of this car. So it ends up being a push. In situations like this, you're not earning money, and this is where the bullshit comes in. So I upgrade this car. I probably spend about $100,000 to upgrade this car, use it for whatever races he needs me to use it for, and then I'll probably never use this car again. So even though they're making some upgrades to this game, you know, in terms of the payout and stuff like that, some of the bullshit is still in this game. Some of it's still going to be there. Did you get that 1 million apology money? Yeah, yep, I did. If you look at my credits, it's 1.5 million. And I already spent some of it. I think I already bought the Beetle GT3, the Volkswagen Beetle. I bought that. And I don't think I bought any other cars. I was dangerously close to buying that BMW M6. Actually, I got to hang on to that money because the reason I say that is because of the daily races. So we go over here to the daily races. So right here, I've already done all 3 of these races. I think the new daily races will start over tomorrow. They'll give us a new daily race, 3 new daily races. Now, if any of those daily races happen to be a Group 2 race, I do not have a Group 2 car, and I would have to go buy one. And all the Group 2 cars cost $800,000. That being said, I'm not buying any more cars until I see what the next daily race is, or I could just outright just go buy one. How are you at drifting missions, challenges on the wheel? I haven't really tried any of them. I haven't really tried any of the mission challenges yet. So that being said, no, I haven't really tried any of the drifting. My whole mission is not necessarily to fill up all the menu books. My mission is to get to Circuit de la Sarthe. That is the track I'm looking to get to. That's my favorite track. I don't know if I got it unlocked. If I do, it might be the classic version. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to start an actual race. It's just going to look like I'm starting. See what tracks I have unlocked. Checking network environment. Don't tell me this game is the multiplayer. Earlier, and I guess he tried to go into a couple of multiplayer races or daily races and got kicked out of them. So, room mode. So I'm looking for Circuit de la Sarthe. And that would be the Le Mans. Mount Panorama. Dragon Tail. A lot of tracks. Circuit de Saint Croix. "24 hours Le Mans," right there with no. I want the ones with the chicane. It says do whatever you want. Event starts every 10 minutes. Let's have a look. If he doesn't have any restrictions, chances are there's going to be people in here driving Honda Civics that's got nitrous and all that shit on there. So my GT3 cars would get blown out the water. Damn, this shit taking a minute. What's up with this super SSD this PS5 is supposed to have? This shit taking a minute. What's your favorite Japanese car? It depends on whether you mean a sedan or like exotic car or sports cars. Because if you're talking about sedans, I'm actually driving 2 of those cars in real life. I have a 2006 Acura RL and I have a 2008 Lexus LS460. So they couldn't connect to the server. Let's see what he's got. But as far as like Japanese exotic cars goes, I've been a loyal Acura dude for the longest. The Acura that I own now is like the 5th Acura that I've owned. So if you know cars here in America, Acura is basically a premium Honda. Whereas overseas in Europe and shit like that, there is no Acura. It's just Honda. So the Acura NSX over in the UK is actually the Honda NSX. So the two top exotic Japanese cars would be the Acura NSX, the Lexus, I think RS, and I think maybe the connection timed out. Something's going on with the multiplayer. This shit ain't connected. Oh, go. Here we go with the bullshit. And then you've got the Nissan GT3R or GTR, the Nissan GTR. That car has the power of an exotic sports car. I think that car has close to 600 horsepower, and I think it tops out at over 200 miles an hour. But to me, it is a very plain looking car. It does not scream exotic. It looks like a regular two-door sports car. The only way you could tell that it's a Nissan GTR is if you, in my opinion, is if you know the distinctive markings of that car, and if you see one on the street, because it is kind of a big, bulky ass car. It's not a small two-door car. And I think the multiplayer servers are down. Not a good look. Japanese went for performance over looks. Always been that way. I don't know. I think the Acura NSX is the perfect combination of looks and performance. It's a beautiful car. And I think it's, as far as production cars goes, I think it's one of the fastest 0 to 60 cars in the world. I think it does 0 to 60 in like, damn, I want to say 3.2 seconds. Cause it's got the same 3.5 VTEC motor that's found in a lot of Acuras. Like my Acura RL has the 3.5, I think it's 3.5 VTEC motor. It has that along with I think 5 electric motors. I think it's got an electric motor on each wheel, and I think it's got an electric motor, I think, in the front. So all that combined, I think, makes the car do like 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds. I'm actually going to look it up. And the car tops out at over 200 miles an hour. And when the car first launched, it was $150,000. So when you compare that to the price of Ferraris and Lamborghinis and shit like that, I think you're actually getting a hellified deal. Even with the Nissan GTR, you're getting a better deal because depending on what that car costs now, because when I first seen that car launch, first time I seen that car, it was, I think it was about $80,000. So give me a second. I'm about to look up the 0 to 60 on the Acura NSX. Holy shit. So in a quarter mile, so I'll show you guys that I pulled it up. It says the Acura doesn't publish acceleration numbers, but expect the 0 to 60 sprint to occur in just over 2.5 seconds, with the quarter mile disappearing in just under 11 seconds. The NSX Type S is now a bona fide supercar. Let's see what the Lexus RS does, or the I think it's the LFA that I'm looking for. Holy shit. Lexus reports that the LFA has a top speed of 202 miles an hour and that it will sprint from 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds. That Acura blows that shit out the door. 0 to 60. And I think the electric motors are what makes the difference on that NSX. Because there's no, like, the torque is instantaneous. It doesn't have to be transferred from engine to transmission and shit like that. The acceleration is instant. You know, the torque is instant. Okay. So it looks like the servers are down. Or let's see if I can find a quick room. Yeah, it looked like the servers is down on some bullshit. So these are the rooms that's listed. Let's go in here and see if... Because if the servers are down, why list these available rooms? So I'm beginning to wonder if the latest update that Polyphony Digital and Sony sent through on GT7, they may be allowing you to play the game offline, single player, but the servers may be down for maintenance right now as we speak. Will the daily races be down too? Let's go look. I'm not going to race, but let's go in there for curiosity's sake. Huh. Yeah, you can see these GT3 cars can handle much better than that Mustang I was just driving. And you see how quick it slowed down? And this is why I prefer race cars over production cars. They have superior braking, superior handling, and superior acceleration. I didn't mean to do that. Well, actually, the race is about to start. So, I guess I could hug final corner. I guess I could go ahead and give this a try. But if I do, I'm going to have to use the hood view. Why even give people a warm-up if you don't even give them enough time to get around the track? I didn't even get on the track and the warm-up's already over. What is the point of that? So I'm going to go ahead and do this daily race and then go to sleep, even though I've done this thing 6,000 times already a few days ago. And let me bring the chat back up. Ay, ay, ay. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. I really, really appreciate it. The idiot bumped me. Another idiot bumped me. See, this is the part I hate about this shit, where they try to use you as guardrails. They know they're coming in too fast, and they know that they would fly off the track, so they bump you and use you as a guardrail so they don't fly off the track, because they know they're going too wide. I'm sorry, Miss Jackson. Ooh, I am for real. Never meant to take their place from you. I apologize a million times. Third place, I'll take it. Thanks, Jimmy. You know what? Those two supers that were behind me, they forced my hand. They were bumping me all over the place. So I started getting a little more aggressive so I can get away from them, because it was obvious that if those guys came in too fast and they were scared they were going to go off the road, they were going to use me as a guardrail. I'll save that replay though. Excellent, excellent. What a way to end the night. What a way to end the night. Got a podium finish. Mugged them off. Nice one. Nice one. Nice one. Nice one. Let's save this. Let's save this replay. And actually, we will watch a little bit of it before I go to bed. So what I'm going to do, people, is I'm going to go grab a drink, but I'm going to let the replay play for you guys for a second, and I will be right back. What a performance. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Whoops. Okay, people, I'll be right back. Damn. I cannot believe that I've been babbling all this time and you guys cannot hear me. I totally forgot. Damn. I saw all your comments, Jimmy, and oh my God, my apologies, everybody. I saw your comments about me having diabetes. Long and short of it is that I've lost about 50 pounds. I used to be about 225 pounds. I'm down to 175 now. A lot of it has to do with the diet that I'm on, because I can't take in near as many calories as I did when I was working out. And I was also talking about how I got started in gaming. I'll be 55 in about another month, and my parents bought me my first console when I was about 10 years old in 1977. They bought me a console. It was a Telstar, and it had 4 games: tennis, hockey, highlight, and handball. And all it was a dot that went across the screen, and you had a hash mark, and you turn your knob, and that was your paddle to make the hash mark go up or down and send the ball back to your opponent. That was the first video console that I had. Had the Atari 2500. I hope you guys can still hear me now. You had about 8 games. I had the Atari 2600. Then I had the Atari 5200. And at the time that I got the Atari 5200, that was like the equivalent of getting the PS5 at that time, because the graphics were damn near identical to the graphics that you would see of the actual arcade game. From there, once I got older and I became, getting closer to 18 years old, my parents wasn't buying us video games anymore, stuff like that. So I had to get my own. And so when I got to be about 18 years old, I got away from video games because I was hanging out with my friends doing dumb shit and chasing after girls and stuff like that. And I didn't come back to video games until I got a Sega Genesis. And then from there, my next console was the Sega Saturn. After that, my next console was a Sega Dreamcast, which that was an amazing console, and it was definitely ahead of its time. So like, did I say Sega Saturn? So it was Sega Genesis, Sega Saturn, then the Sega Dreamcast, and then from there I just kept up with the video game consoles after that. Then the original Xbox was my next console, then the 360, PS3, and then the PS4, the Xbox One, and now I got a PS5. But and I had also bought the Xbox One S, because I think I ended up giving my Xbox One to somebody, and I upgraded to the Xbox One S. But the Xbox One S will be the last Xbox that I ever own. I see no point in buying the Series X. When all the games that's on the Series X are pretty much available on the PlayStation, and it appears through all these analysis that a lot of games on the PS5 look and run better than the Series X. I just absolutely see no point in buying one of those consoles. No PS3. I had diabetes throughout that era. When I found out that I had diabetes, Jimmy, the one thing that was happening to me that made me say something was wrong is I was losing weight. I was losing weight a pound a day. And so I tried eating more, but I was still losing weight. The other thing that was happening to me was that my vision went blurry. And I was finding myself running to the bathroom like every half hour. And so I started, Googling all these symptoms, and it pointed towards diabetes. So I was like, oh shit, I got diabetes. And somebody had told me that you're going to keep losing weight until you go to the doctor, and then you start taking insulin and all this kind of shit. So I went, got diagnosed, was, prescribed insulin. I had to take 1 shot a day. I was also prescribed some metformin. They also prescribe some medication for high blood pressure. I didn't feel like I had high blood pressure, but I guess they claimed that I had high blood pressure, even though I didn't feel like it was. And so I was taking all that medication, and I was still losing weight. And I think a big cause of the reason I was losing weight was because of the metformin, because the metformin excretes the sugar out of your system, and you get rid of it by way of shitting, and this, to be blunt about it. So the metformin pretty much made me feel like I had diarrhea. So it was like, I was basically shitting out liquids every day. And I had to pick and choose the time that I could take the metformin, because it would take a while for that shit to kick in. And if I took it at a bad time, then my stomach would start bubbling, and I would find myself running to the bathroom like every half hour at work. So I had to take the metformin at a time where it would start kicking in when I got home from work, so I could run to the bathroom as many times as I needed to. But I hadn't took my medication in over a year. The big thing that I was finding out is that when I was taking in a lot of carbs and I wasn't exercising, my vision would get a little bit blurrier. But, if I exercised regularly and I kept the carbs down, then my vision wouldn't be as bad. My vision, when you get my age, the average person is going to need some sort of glasses, whether it's reading glasses or, full-time glasses. It's at 55 years old, I think it's just, just part of life. So it is what it is. For the most part, I feel fine. I'll never be as big as I was, because I was pretty muscular. Let me see. Because I'm on the PS5, see, if I was on PC, I could pull up a picture and show it to you guys. But I have to pull up a picture on my phone and then bring it close to the camera and show it to you guys. Okay, so let me show you guys this picture. This is what I looked like when I was 225 pounds. So I was pretty muscular. Let me see if I can turn that down a little bit. See if that comes through a little bit better. That was me at 225 pounds of solid muscle. And this was another picture of me. So I had some good sized arms. I had about 18-inch arms in those pictures. So I was a pretty big dude. I'm not very tall. I'm about 5'9". 280 sack of shit me to lean 190. Hey, I mean, hell, you know what's crazy about that, Jimmy? I was 200 pounds, 225 pounds, right? And I wanted to lean out. So I went on a diet, and I got down to an even 200 pounds. And it looked good, but I had lost some size. And at 200 pounds, I felt like a crack fiend. I felt like I was this skinny. And I was like, no, I don't like this. So I started putting the weight back on. But as I started putting the weight back on, the belly started coming back. So I was like, okay, I can't go back up to 225 again, because I don't want to have a big ass, truck driver's belly. So I kind of settled on like 215, and then my weight would kind of go up or down depending on how I've been eating. So before I started losing weight, when I was like, something's not right, I weighed 217 pounds. And then by the time I got down to about 205 pounds, that's when I said something's not right. Because I hadn't changed my eating habits, but yet I was losing a pound a day. I got diagnosed with diabetes, came down to about 200. My body settled at about 200 pounds. But the big problem is I work at a factory. And I move around a lot. The job is physical. I don't do any heavy lifting, but I'm moving around a lot because I work at a furniture company building furniture. And what I ended up finding out was, like, because of the diet that I was on, I was taking in 1,800 to 2,000 calories a day, but I was burning about 2,400 calories a day. When you're burning more calories than you're taking in, you're gonna lose weight. It's just a simple case of numbers. There's no way around it. And in a sense, that's kind of what happened to me. Is I was burning up more calories than I was taking in, and it just led to me just burning up, just losing more weight. And I think my body finally decided that 175 pounds is where you need to be. So this is about as low as I got before I could stop, stabilize my weight. Even if I went back to eating to the way I did, I would be able to put some of the weight back on, but I would also be, in my opinion, risking my health. Because when I got diagnosed with diabetes and they took my blood sugar, they said my blood sugar was so high they couldn't even get a reading. They said I was like 1 day or two away from going into emergency. So I don't want to put myself in that position again. So, so here I am, I'd rather be 175 pounds and alive and being able to move around. Because one thing that me weighing 175 pounds did do is, I got bird legs. Even when I was 225 pounds, I had bird legs. So all that extra weight, upper body weight that I was carrying, it was hard on my knees and it was hard on my back, because since I had a little bit of a belly at the time, I was always walking around sucking my stomach in. And when I was sucking my stomach in, it was putting pressure on my back. So my back was, hurting. And what I would do was, like, if I went to a club or something like that, a nightclub, and I was walking around with my stomach sucked in, when I felt my back hurting or I needed to catch my breath, I would quick run to the bathroom, and, let it all out, and then take another breath, suck the belly in, walk around, walking around all buff and shit like that. So being 175 pounds, I don't walk around with my stomach sucked in anymore, and I can walk up and down steps without my knees hurting. Taxi driving in Liverpool for 20 years gave me awful lifestyle, and was killing myself. Jason, oh boy, I lost that. So let me go check out your comment. All right, hold on a second, Jimmy. Taxi driver in Liverpool for 20 years gave me awful lifestyle, was killing myself. Jason Fong on the YouTube changed my life. 3 meals a day, 8/16 eating window, low carbs. Yeah, definitely. One of the bad thing about felt great and so grateful to him. I will say one thing about the carbs is that when I had my diet where I had absolutely no carbs, I had little energy. So I just felt like I was dragging. So I had to take in a little bit of carbs just to have, just to get some energy. So, well, holy shit, it is 11 o'clock. I think it's time for me to hang it up. But I will say that as far as okay. So as far as my roadmap for what I plan to stream this week, naturally it's going to be a lot of racing. Sometime this week, maybe either tomorrow, Tuesday, or Wednesday, I'm going to stream a low fuel motorsports race on the Sette Corsa Competizione on PC. I think the new daily race for GT7 will start tomorrow. So sometime Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, sometime this week, I will stream the new daily race for GT7. Also, I'm really liking the Assetto Corsa Competizione Next Gen on PS5. Looks beautiful, runs great, and I want to, unlock some ratings on that. So I will stream that sometime this week. What I have not figured out is whether I will stream that on YouTube or whether I will stream it on Twitch. So I would say follow me on Twitch, subscribe to my Twitch channel. I don't do many streams there, but I mean, I would say just sub there, just so if I do decide to stream there, you won't miss out. So I'll put my Twitch in the comments. So that is it right there. That is my Twitch, Lincoln_Clay. That is my Twitch. So go to Twitch, type in Lincoln_Clay. You'll know it's me when you see it because you'll see the buff picture. Because I used another picture when I was super big and shit. So you'll know it when you see it. In that picture, I think I'm wearing a black T-shirt with a skull cap on. So follow me on Twitch. Follow me, subscribe, however they say it. And if I decide to stream Assetto Corsa Competizione on PS5, I decide to do it on Twitch, you won't miss out. Thanks for the stream. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Jimmy. Appreciate it. So that is my plan for this week. I haven't talked about it in a while, but my son is working on trying to upload a Gears of War map to contractors or Pavlov because they allow mods on there. So he's already extracted the map. We're just trying to figure out a couple of things, and hopefully we'll get that uploaded. And once my son gets that uploaded, I will be helping to promote his work and help spread the word around about his work. And I will do one stream a week from Pavlov for contractors. Once we get this all sorted out, I don't know how long it's going to take because school is overwhelming my son with homework, and because of how early he has to go to bed, he doesn't have much time to work on his projects outside of school. So, but once he gets it going, that will be added to my weekly schedule. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. I've got about an hour. I normally go to bed at about midnight Eastern. It's about 11 here, so I think I'm going to take this next hour to stretch out and watch some streams. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next day or two with the next stream. So with that, you guys know the line. Wakanda forever. Long live the king. And deuces. We will see you all on the next one. Thanks so much for tuning in, everybody. This was a lot of fun. And we'll see you again soon. Have a good night, everybody.